So you know those experiments that you do in science class where you like take a sample of germs or whatever and put them in a petri dish, and then overnight they just multiply and all of a sudden the dish is rancid and has to be completely destroyed. I feel like that's how anime conventions are. See, the key to these experiments is that the subject is contained and can be observed from a distance. But what I'm about to tell you about is the time I went Osmosis Jones and became one with the masses. I went inside the dish. I'm just gonna throw up a disclaimer. I'm not trying to discredit anyone who enjoys going to these conventions. I just don't like the convention itself. It's kind of like how you can enjoy the presence of some of your friends at school and yet hate being there. But anyway, I went to which is one of the largest conventions in my state, the beautiful transgender bathroom state of North Carolina. This is something I would never even consider doing alone, so I tagged along with my brother and 3 of our friends. Just to give you an idea of what price we paid to go here, 4 hours round trip, $50 each. I still don't know whether this experience is worth the time and money put into it, but you know, you can evaluate for yourself once this video is done. So anyway, we arrive, stand in the line under the blazing sun for 15 minutes and pay for our passes. The first thing that strikes me is the smell. I mean, what did I expect, to be honest? To describe this smell, as my friend put it, imagine fried fish and farts. I still gag whenever remnants of my memory recall that smell, and it permeated everywhere. It was especially concentrated around the food stands, which were probably not worth your time because they were either cheap concession or fake Japanese food, hence the fish and farts. I even covered my mouth and nose every time I passed them just to minimize the toxins I'm inhaling. So past the initial sensory overload, I went to what was probably the coolest part of the convention. Right around the bend was a higher level overlooking the marketing room, a giant warehouse full of different kinds of overpriced merchandise. But honestly, the variety there was something to behold. There was something for everyone. There were Animal Crossing plushies for me, Legend of Korra concept art books for my brother, Gilgamesh everything for Brandon, etc. Another thing to take note of whilst perusing the markets is the sheer number of people. You're gonna be packed like a sardine, especially if you're a big guy like me. And once again, I remind you of the smell, so just be prepared for that. I attended 3 panels whilst I was there. I can only remember 2. The history of Gothic Lolita fashion and Get Bent, gender bending and cosplay. The first one made me want to embrace Mr. Clorox again, and the second one made me realize something very important. People here take their hobbies seriously, and I mean religiously seriously. My choice of words isn't hyperbole either, but you'll see why in a moment. Needless to say, despite our efforts, we just could not justify staying in a smelly building where Indian British men wear sexy suspenders made for Japanese schoolgirls. Frankly, I was disgusted and resolved not to eat there. We all agreed. Rainey and I toured the state capital, Raleigh, which is a beautiful place. I highly recommend visiting there actually. There were only a few oddities in the streets. Firstly, straight out of Harry Potter, people in cloaks roamed the town. You know, bloody yandere, schoolgirls, scouting legion, people actually trying to be a skeleton. By the way, I did that for character day at my school. And the other thing was a bar on wheels. Now, I've never heard of this concept before. I can only assume most of you guys haven't either. Pretty much, it's a bar, cabana style, with a bunch of bikes actually welded to the side of it with an engine on the side. It's a man-powered bar on wheels. People drink and work their legs at the same time. I just can't get over the image of a bunch of drunk people hurtling down the street while screaming at people's dogs and taking shots.
Oh my gosh, Betsy, your Labrador is so cute. Oh my gosh, Betsy, your Labrador is so cute.
My bro and I went to the Capitol building and sat under a tree next to my boy Acock. We sat there for like half an hour eating Subway and listening to Chance the Rapper. Shout out the coloring book. And all was right in the world. I felt like I belonged. Until suddenly the same realization hit the both of us. Wait a minute. We spent $50 for this. Why are we sitting out here? And so we returned. Boy oh boy did things escalate. We hadn't even been gone for an hour and an entire display was set up at the entrance. A group of furries froze in poses next to a crucified Iron Man, while others boasted Captain America's head on a spear. There was Hulk's head too, and they stood like this, for 15 minutes. The quintessential convention pastor was disgusted, as he should be, at this offensive public display. You know, the ones with picket signs saying, "You're all going to hell." We even felt bad for the guy, okay? He was legitimately getting bullied. Animazement, your first code of conduct is harassment and bullying will not be tolerated, unless you have a differing opinion. Like, you know, you have homestuck girls saying to every passerby, "Move along, there's nothing to see here. Move along, there's nothing to see here. Move along, there's nothing to see here." And the actual stereotypical fat 13-year-old wearing a Minecraft shirt, taking his notebook and writing on it in big letters, "Hail Satan," next to the guy with a wide contented grin on his face, knowing he has disproved God. Guys, that's not how tolerance works, okay? This guy's sign wasn't even that vile or offensive. At this point, I was just ready to go home. We spent $50 and didn't even stay the full 9 hours. We were there for like 4. I just went through the art room one more time to appreciate it before I left. M14 Gaming, I was about to buy you something, but I ain't rich, boy. Sorry. So we drove home, ordered cookout, and talked about how disappointing the convention was all throughout the ride. I'm not even kidding, the smell was so bad I was nauseous for the whole ride back. I got home and bathed immediately. I just wanted to rid myself of the collective filth and smelliness there. Afterwards, I just rode my bike. I kept on going around the neighborhood. I needed to free my mind of that day. So yeah, I guess that's my first time at an anime convention. Hopefully you enjoyed. I certainly enjoyed making it. I'm just honestly ready to move on from this. Expect something Overwatch related next. Subscribe if you want to see more of my content. Thanks for watching. Bye.